AI is changing the way we write code, not by taking over, but by teaming up with us.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
In today's video, I am building a SpringBatch application that exports data from MongoDB to a JSON file. But here is the twist. I am using GitHub Copilot to help me along the way. Think of it as pair programming with a colleague that will help you to find anything that you need. Because most of the time, when we are solving a problem and we get stuck, the first thing that we do, we go to Google and we, for example, look for the official documentation, right?
You liar!
Okay, let's be honest. We go to Stack Overflow, and if we are lucky, we get the answer. But now we have AI, and we can see AI as a colleague or team member that will help us to do anything that we need. So it has more capability. I believe that. And it's always ready to help us to code faster, smarter, and even with fewer bugs. We will go from setting up a project to running a complete batch job. And I will show you how Copilot can boost your productivity and even spark new ideas while coding. So let's dive in and see what AI assist development really looks like. Most of the people call it by vibe coding, okay? I don't feel the vibe, but we are going to call it by AI assist development, and we are going to explore a little bit more about GitHub Copilot. So now let's go. So we are here on our IntelliJ. We are going to create a new Spring Boot project from scratch. So let's just use here the project name. It will be MongoDB Reader, just like that. And we are going to use Java, will be Maven, Java 21. You can use another version, for example, Java 24, it doesn't matter. Let's generate our project and I will be back right now. So in terms of dependency, so we will not get any dependency here, okay? So as we can see, we could choose some dependencies, but we will leave this responsibility to AI, okay? We want AI to build for us the SpringBatch project. So now let's create the project. So now let's check. So I already have here the GitHub Copilot, okay? So I have GitHub Copilot itself and also the chat, okay? And this is what we need. So for me, I'm using the paid version, okay? I pay 10 euros per month. So you can use, for example, I think there is a free trial or free version of GitHub Copilot. Now, we have here our POM XML. So as we can see, we don't have anything related to SpringBatch. And here is where we need to include, okay, AI in order to help us with anything. So most of the case for people that are using AI, for example, ChatGPT, most of the time you use the prompts in order to get some answer, in order to understand something. So now, the first thing that we are going to do, you need to understand that you have to learn a little bit more about the prompts that you need to use in order to help AI to give you the precise answer. But for now, you can just see, for example, we have here explain, feedback, fix, and so on. Just explore a little bit it. But for our scenario, okay, we need it to create for us the SpringBatch that will read from MongoDB and writes to a JSON file. So let's choose here, okay, the file. The first thing that we can do here, for example, choose the file, and I will tell him, okay, so for example, we need to add SpringBatch dependency and also Mongo dependency. I am going to do it the fast way. So for example, Spring data dependency, just like that. So now let's feel the vibe. Can you feel the vibe? This is the vibe coding, guys. So let's see. Okay, so we have here those dependencies. This one we have already, and so on. So most of the time, what developers can do, for example, we can just go here and we can, for example, copy code block, but we can also, for example, go here. For example, let me just delete it here. So for example, we can just go here and select a line and insert, okay, the let me see what is the suggestion. So this is GitHub trying to do autocomplete, but what we need here is the Copilot. So let's insert the code block, okay, where we have the cursor. So at line 33, okay. So let's add it. We have the dependency of SpringBatch and MongoDB. The next thing that I can do is I will ask it to, for example, to add Lombok and Mapstract. So now let's see. Okay, so this is the Lombok and Mapstract dependency. I think, okay, I accept that, but let me see. Okay, can you add the latest? Let's ask AI to add the latest dependency of my Mapstract, because I don't think that 155 is the latest. Okay, I have been using Mapstract I use every day, so I think it's not the latest dependency. So can you add the latest dependency of Mapstract? So let's take a look what it can tell us. Okay, so this is the okay. Let's see. Okay, let's believe that this is the latest dependency of Mapstract. Okay, but what we can do, we can go to Google and let's try to check the latest dependency of Mapstract. So I am here on my browser. Now let's check the latest dependency of Mapstract. For example, let's just go to Google. I have to type Google because I have ChatGPT extension on my Google. So that's the reason I have to type Google. So let's just use Mapstract, Maven, just like this. And let's see. Oh, can you see? The latest version of Mapstract is 1.6.3. Okay, now let's go back to our IntelliJ. So the latest is 1.6.3. Okay, anyways, so let me just add. Okay, so this is what I want to show you guys. Sometimes you should not believe everything that, for example, AI will tell you. You need always to check, okay, if the answer is correct in terms of dependencies, in terms of class, in terms of version, because version is important, right? Because when you are talking about obsolescence, right, we don't want to use anything deprecated. So that's why I'm trying to tell him that, okay, the latest version of Mapstract is not the one that you are giving me. AI is AI, so it's just here to help us. It will not do, okay, your complete job. But let's try to see. Let's see how far it can go. So now let's add the Mapstract dependency here. So as I was telling you guys, we just need, for example, to click here, insert code block at cursor. Okay, just this one here. For example, we are going to insert, and okay, we have the Mapstract dependency. So where is Lombok? I think I asked you Lombok before or not. So okay, anyways, so let's just copy and paste the Lombok, also the Lombok dependency. The next thing that I need, I don't like to have the version here, right? So most of the time I like to use them here, this tag properties. Okay, so I'm just going to ask it to put the versions on the tag, for example, properties. Guys, I know this is just the beginning. Okay, we need to understand how to talk with this tool. That's why I'm exploring it like that. So now let's ask it. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So in that order, what can we do? So we will delete everything. I don't know how you guys are doing with this, man. Should we delete everything and replace? So let's do that. So let's insert. Okay, now we have all, let's say, versions, okay, on this section here, which is better, right? In terms of, for example, visibility and maintainability. So now we have everything here. Let's see what we can still add here. And let's try to see what AI can do, for example, in terms of Maven. So maybe we need, do you remember guys, at least as far as I know, for the latest versions, when we are using, for example, Lombok and abstract, sometimes we need a new dependency of Lombok that will allow the Lombok and abstract to be bind, okay? So that's the reason I will tell him, okay, can you add, for example, a new plugin, okay? It should be a Maven plugin, and include, for example, a Mapstract processor and Lombok, for example, Mapstract binding, okay? And I will explain it later. So let's ask it. So now let's use this new prompt here. So I'm just asking it to add, okay, Maven compiler, and also, for example, to add annotation processor such as Lombok binding, the Mapstract processor. So can you think, for example, for me, I believe if I was not a software engineer or experienced software engineer, I could not notice that, for example, it's not using everything that I need in order to make it run properly. I don't know, maybe I should leave it doing its stuff, but I think it will take more time, okay, for us, because later I have to debug its code and so on. But I think in order to use it every day, I think this is the best way to do that. Don't ask it to generate everything, okay, from scratch, because it will not work. I don't want even try to do that, okay? I will just ask it to generate smaller chunks of my application. So now let's run this. Feel the vibe, guys, feel the vibe. Let's see. Okay. All right. I like that. Okay. So now let's just remove this. Let's paste. Let's set here the cursor. Okay, and let's include the plugins, okay, on the build section. I like this. This is exactly what we need. Well done. And yeah, so the other thing that I would like to tell you guys is, for example, for those that are using a specific coding style, will AI keep your coding style? How will it be? Because AI generates code, but maybe for your company, your code base have some standards. In my case, I use the Maven check style in order to check the style of our code base. How will it work with AI? I need to explore it. If you know, guys, just leave in the comment section how you are dealing with it, okay? So now that we have everything, okay, ready in order to start building our application, let me just, for example, go here. I think so. Let's open here, and let's create here a new file. Let's call it by prompt. Here I will write all the prompts that we need in order to ask AI to create for us the SpringBatch itself: the job, the step, the reader, write, processor, the configuration of database, and so on. Let's create our file. So it will be prompt.txt. So now we have here our prompt. Okay, so here we have the recipe. Here we have what we need to do. What we are going to do here, so we are going to ask GitHub Copilot to generate a SpringBatch job that does the following. So first, reads data from MongoDB collection. So it will have these fields: country code, country name, independence year, score, and I think we could add here also, for example, continent. And then, so for example, after reading, okay, we need also an item processor that will, for example, convert, okay, as we can see here, the independence year is a integer, so we need it to be converted into java.time.year. So let's suppose that we need to convert, okay, the integer to year, because we are challenging, okay, GitHub Copilot, and the processor should validate that the year is in the past, okay? If not, skip the record, okay? And the last thing is, for example, the job should write the processed list of countries, okay, to a JSON file. I will not tell him which, let's say, SpringBatch item writer it should use, okay? We want to see how AI can do it by itself, okay? So now let's run our prompt. So in that order, let me just remove it here, okay? We don't need to specify anything. Let me just copy, okay? I think, yeah, let me just copy here, okay? Of course, I will explain a little bit more functionalities, but okay, let's paste it here. So here we have, okay? And remember guys, as I don't know how is it for the, let's say, the free version, but I'm using, I think it's the same, okay? I'm using the paid version of GitHub Copilot, and I have here, okay, a part of GPT, I have also the Claude and Gemini, okay? So you can choose, and we will actually play a little bit later with them, okay? So now let's run. Now feel the vibe, guys. Vibe coding. Okay, I don't like it because the first thing that I can tell you, job builder factory, bro, it's deprecated. I don't accept that. So this is not something that I want, okay? Because we are using, let's see, Spring Boot 3.4.4, okay? And we are using SpringBatch 5. Let me see here. Here in terms of dependencies, let me reload the project. Okay, let's import here. Okay, show me the version of SpringBatch. Don't want to show me anyways. So I think we have here batch, and it's SpringBatch 5. Okay, why are you giving me this old stuff? I don't need it, okay? So now let's analyze first. So every time when you get an answer from AI, you need to analyze it, okay? You need to analyze it. So let's see. Explanation. First, MongoDB reader. Use MongoDB, Mongo item reader, okay, to read from the country collection. Item processor converts independence year to Java time and skip, okay, that's good. JSON writer, use flat file item writer. No, we are going to improve it, okay? AI, don't try to guess. If you are my colleague, try to use what we really believe it's the best. But anyways, we can still accept that. So let's see what we have here. Okay, I don't like it like this. So let me just, man, this vibe coding is not easy, okay? It's not easy. So let's say, okay, separate, okay, item processor. Yeah, let's put here 3.1. Okay, let's say that so the item processor should be on a separated class. Okay, we don't want it here in the same class. So just like that, and let's take a look. Okay, for example, guys, I know that we can use the flat file item writer, okay? But no, SpringBatch itself provide for us a list of readers, writers, okay? Just go to the documentation and you will see. And I know that we have JSON file item writer, okay? So here, finally, the job should write processed list of countries to a JSON, okay? Remember, so let's just use here. So let's tell the AI to use the correct SpringBatch class in order to write to JSON. I will not tell him which class. Yes, just like that. So now let's try to run once again. But before that, I would like to tell him, okay, we are using SpringBatch 5.2, okay? Remember, just like that. I think it's better, okay, because all this is old. We don't need it, okay. Now let's copy and paste once again our prompt, what we need, just like that. And let's see. Now let's feel the vibe. We are vibe coders. Again, you stupid what? You are using this one here. No one is using it anymore, bro. We are in 2025. Okay, now at least it's doing its job. Okay. Now, so let's analyze what it has. Okay, we have here country batch config. Okay, we have Mongo template. All right. So now let's go here. Let's start creating, for example, here. Let's see what it's giving us. So let's just copy, for example, here, and let's say, okay, here we are going to create a new package. And here in this package add, okay, so let's just add it here just like this. Okay, so mistake here. And okay, let's start, for example, importing this also. For example, bro, I don't like it. Bro, let's do it, man. Oh. Yes, I like, but I don't like this auto write. No one is using it anymore, bro. We are in 2025. Or I don't know which year are you from. Anyways, so let's see the job builder. Okay, it cannot find the job builder factory class. I told him generate a SpringBatch job configuration that does the following. Remember to use SpringBatch 5 or higher. And this let's say colleague, okay, Copilot colleague is still using something old, okay? We don't need it anymore here. We don't need, I think it's not exist anymore in Spring, okay? So let's fix. This is what you call by AI gonna change the game. It's changing, of course, but it cannot do itself everything. It will not be able to replace the engineers. We need to do this, as you can see. I don't know if I'm doing some mistake, but I'm still learning how to use all these tools, okay? But as you can see, we need to do our job, okay? We need to put our hands on code. It will generate the boilerplate, but in the end of the day, you will need, okay, to fix something, to add something, okay? So let's do it like this. So here it needs a class country. So let's just create here a new package. Let's call it by domain, just like this. And here let's create the class country, okay? And then we have this country class. I think we can just, for example, delete it and accept it. Oh, amazing. Can you see? Sometimes it's nice, okay? So transient year, for country, no, it will be at document. So we need to add document because this is the Spring data MongoDB, right? Because we need to annotate it as a document. And of course, it also needs an ID. Okay, ID, and here at ID, and it should be, the ID should be annotation, this one here, okay? And let's remove this one here. We don't need. So this is our class, okay, our domain class that we will use in order to map from what we have on MongoDB to our Java object, just like that. Let's go back here on our job config, and here we are going to read from country, just like this. So Mongo item reader, what we have here. Yes, it's telling us, can you see? IntelliJ is telling us that Mongo item reader is deprecated since 5.1. And if we take a look here, what we told him to do, use higher version, Copilot. Oh, Jesus. So we are going to use here Mongo paging, okay, item reader, which is the one, okay, that we really need, okay, and also this stuff here. Why this code is so ugly? AI just generate ugly code or what? Okay, just like this. So here it will be a country, just like this, and here of course it will receive the Mongo template. Oh, well done. So when we need to, for example, to select all, we just use here the query like empty, okay, without anything. And I think as we are using Mongo paging, okay, we are talking about paging. So here in the array, oh, amazing. That's what I need. That's what I need, man. I think here the autocomplete is better than, for example, this chat. Okay, anyways, and yeah, what we need also, a name. Oh, nice suggestion. Mongo, no, it will be country item reader, just like that. Sorting, okay, ascending, okay, sorting is nice. Yeah, I think it's okay. So now let's take a look here on our, okay, this is the reader, and let's go to the processor. Where is the processor? So let's create here a new package. Let's call it by processor. So here in the processor, let's see the name that it gave us. It was country item processor. So let's just create here the new class. Let's call it by country item processor. For now, let's remove it and let's, okay, insert the code block. It will be a component. I like that. It implements item processor. Nice. Very nice. So we are reading Java domain. Now, a new challenge for Copilot. So what I need here. So for example, I want Copilot to, for example, instead of returning, so we are receiving our domain object, right? Our domain entity. Instead of returning it to the writer, okay, we need a DTO. So we want AI to create a DTO for us, and we can work, okay, with this DTO instead of working with the domain entity. So in that order, let's use the other thing. As you can see, guys, we are using the chat, okay? Now you have the ability, for example, to select the code block or the line, okay? And ask, for example, AI to fix something, okay? Or to explain something, okay? So you need to understand all those prompts, okay? But for now, what we are going to do, we are going to leave the chat, okay? And we are going to use Copilot edits. So in order to use the Copilot edits, first let's select a file. Let's use our processor. And here, let's try to add here a prompt. So let's ask it to create, instead of returning the country, it should return the country DTO and use mapstruct in order to map from our domain entity to our DTO. So let's create the prompt. So now we have here what we need. So as we can see, let me just put it like this, and it's very simple. I'm just telling the AI that the processor class, instead of returning the country instance, I needed to return a country DTO and use mapstruct to convert country instance, okay, to a country DTO instance, okay? So the country DTO should be a Java record. And also, for example, I specify here the fields. So now let's get what we have here. Let's go back here and let's go to Copilot edits. As you can see, we have here the country item processor, okay, select. Let's paste it here. let's see. Okay, I think, yeah, we should put a little bit bigger. Okay, just like that. And now let's run and let's see. Now feel the vibe, generating response. This is the vibe code. Okay, I think this time you can start smoking and do something. Whoa. Let's see what we have here. To implement the request changes, we will create a new country DTO record class with specified fields. Let's see. Okay, I like that. So, and let's accept and let's put it here. So yeah, as we can see here, we have our country DTO just like that. Okay, once we have our country DTO, now let's check what it has created for us. So let's see, here we have the mapper. Do I have to specify always the package that it's going? Okay, anyways, let's just accept, okay, the mapper. It's here. We need to put it here. Okay, now we have the mapper. It receives a country. Okay, and it's using the independence year as year. Okay, let's see what country DTO has. Independence year. I don't know if it will work, but we will see in compile time. And next we need also to go to our processor. So the processor itself, let's see the suggestion. Okay, now for the processor, it's using the correct package. Okay, processor just like this. Let's accept it. Okay, it's here. Okay, we need to accept it. I think later I need to specify the correct package. So now that we have here the processor, let's try to look better. So remember, before accepting, you need to analyze the code. So let's see what we have here. Okay, it's trying to use the get independence year, but I think the country itself doesn't have getters and setters. We could just, for example, do it by ourselves. So we need to do something, right? Okay, so we have the getters and setters. I think we can also add here, for example, the builder. Okay, and let's add it to build. I like to build. Okay, true. And also, for example, we can add all our constructor. Okay, just like that. And now let's go back to our. Okay, as we can see, now it has getters and setters. Let's just import the year. It should be Java time. Okay, and for example here, country that's set independence year as year. It's not true. It should be set independence year, just like that. So why? Wait. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? No, you don't need it, bro. You don't need it. We could ask it to fix, okay, this line, but for now I think the video will be so long. Okay, we got country. Okay, so this time here we just skipping, okay, and then we are mapping. So now independence year as year doesn't exist. So it's independence year, just like that. And yeah, now let's compile and let's see. Okay, just like that. If mapstruct will work. Okay, we still have here some problems to solve. Okay, but anyways, I think the mapstruct side, okay, is working already. Let's see here. Generated class. Okay, we don't have it yet, so let me just for now comment all of them because we want to see if mapstruct. Okay, so let me just first here clear, okay, and let's use maven clean compile in order to see if mapstruct is working. Okay, so can't map independence year to independence year. Okay, I know what to do, but can we ask him to fix? Just like that. Okay. It's giving us some suggestions. So as we can see, the issue is that mapping annotation is trying to map an integer, okay, to a year. Mapstruct cannot automatically handle, okay, this type of conversion. So you need to provide a custom mapping. So that's a nice suggestion. And I think, yeah, we could just, for example, use, I know that there is, for my side, I think for this simple case, I don't need to write any new method, just like this one here. I could just, for example, I don't know, use here the expression, right? But yeah, I think we are going to accept it, and let's accept it. It should be like this. All right. So as we can see, guys, in order to understand it, you need to understand mapstruct, okay? So if you need to add a new, let's say, a custom mapper, okay, you can, for example, create, this is one of the, I don't know, there are different ways to do that, but the simplest way to do that is just by creating here a new method. It should be default method. You understand what is default methods from Java 8, okay? And then you specify here qualified by name, and you give the name. And just remember, okay, this will only work if the input, okay, the parameter matches, okay? So for example, if you specify here, let's say Boolean, it will not work, okay? Because you are expecting here an integer as value. So for now, let's run maven clean compile once again, and let's try to see. Okay. Cannot see. Okay, I think we can just add here named, okay, like this. Yeah. Let's run once again. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so just like this. And let's take a look here. Let me reload here. Generated class, as we can see. Then we have here, okay, our mapper. So this is mapstruct implementing. We don't need to take a look at this. And now let's go back on our job configuration. Let's remove the comments. Now let's see. So we have here our mapper. So in our processor, we are using the mapper. Okay. So first we filter, right? So we are just going to filter. So if the independence year is after or if it in the future, we will not process this country. Of course, there is not country that independence year is in the future, but we can just, for example, play like that. And then we return using mapstruct. So now let's go back to our country job config in order to complete this part of job configuration. So for now, the first thing that we need to understand is, guys, I already told this guy, Copilot, let me just close all of them. So I told this guy to generate by using, as I was telling you, okay, remember, use the correct SpringBatch that allows to write a JSON file. So as we can see here in the step here, but it's still using, for example, the flat file item writer, and then setting here the JSON line aggregator. That's okay, right? But what if I just, for example, let's ask him to refactor this code. Okay, we are going to ask it to refactor this code by using, for example, JSON file item writer. Why I'm trying to tell it? Because I don't want to use flat file item writer, okay? Because SpringBatch offers a lot of, let's say, readers, writers, okay? And we can use out of the box them. We don't need to invent. I know that it can work, okay? And it will work, but it's not the, let's say, it's not the correct one to write to JSON file. So let's see. Now let's feel the vibe. Guys, okay, now we are talking the same language, okay? So as we can see, now to refactor the selected code to use JSON file item writer, you can replace the existing flat file item writer implementation. Here is the code. That's what I need, okay? That's what I need. Oh, thank you. Let's just insert the block just like that. Amazing, as we can see here. Now, I think the next thing that we can do, for example, let's just get here the builder and so on. We are going to use the Jackson, right? We are going to use the Jackson JSON marshaller, and here we are going to specify, okay, let's say the output, okay, just like that. And yeah, I think that's okay. And of course, let me just add here, for example, delete if exists true, because I don't want to generate different files just like this. And here, why are you using, for example, here, the country? It should be country DTO. What is our step? Our step is here. So processor, it's using processor like that. No, I don't like this. So let's inject here our item processor. So our item processor like that. Let's take a look. Okay, it's a component. Even this processor. So guys, always maybe you need to add more prompts, right? So just like that. Maybe you can give more instructions to AI, but sometimes you just need to do it the way that you know, okay? Because if we want to be faster than before, sometimes you gotta do your job, okay? So now let's use here. So for example, this one here. What the hell is this? We don't use anymore the step builder factory and the job builder factory. Okay, so for this one, I will just tell him, okay, replace the job, let's say the job builder factory with the new one provided by I think SpringBatch 5.2. Let's just say like that, okay? So let's take a look. So guys, do you understand? It's impossible for someone that is not a developer to write code using AI. It's impossible. At least Java and Spring. Of course, you can do a crude, okay, those simple things, but I think that's your limit, okay? That's the limit of these people that will be the vibe coders, okay? So let me just go back here. Let me copy. And let's go here and let's replace it. Okay, so it will use the step builder just like that. God damn it, that's insane, man. That's insane. That's insane. Because sometimes I think, okay, anyways, it needs a job repository. It also, we also need, I know, platform transaction manager. Oops. Platform transaction manager, just like that. So here, after the name, we need the job repository. And here, after the chunk, okay, the chunk size, we need to provide the transaction manager. So AI, I think you are doing this on purpose, okay? I think you know it, but you are just, I don't know, like giving me the feeling, okay, that I am in the charge. I am the boss here. I know that you know, maybe. Okay, so let's just use it like that. So we are going to read a country and we are going to write a country DTO. Okay, so for example, and we need to specify here also that we are going to write a country DTO, right? Specifying here, just like that. And now here for the job, we can also import here the job, just like that. And okay, so this is the step that we are going to use. And of course here after, so this is the job receives a step. So what the hell here? Of course we can also ask him to let's say do it by using the new job builder. So just like that, and just simple, just like this. So here we specify the name, okay, and then the job repository, and then we add the step. So let's use here the incrementer. So let's use I think the default is new runner, yeah, run ID, yeah, incrementer, just like this. So what the hell is going on here? So god damn it, yeah, so we need to close it here. So just like this, here we don't need it. Okay, so just like that. So for my point of view, it's better always to start, okay, for example here we first specify our job, then our job contains a step, right? So just like this, yes, and then the step has a reader, okay, the processor and the writer. So for now I think it's okay, just like that. Yeah, the first thing that we need to do, okay, we need also to inject this using the constructor injection. Yeah, we don't need it. SpringBatch 5, no one is using that. So you only use the enable, okay, batch processing when you want to, for example, configure the database type, for example, right? Database type, and some other configurations. So we are not doing this. That's why, okay, you can also ask, for example, the AI to explain, okay, explain this annotation, okay, and it will give you the explanation. But I think, yeah, we actually don't need it. Yeah, so that's an old explanation, bro. I'm paying this, but I think it's not update, okay. It's not using the current, let's say, version of what we have in internet, okay. Anyways, maybe it will create its own version. So now the next thing that we need to do, for example, is here. Let's go to application property. Let's go to GitHub Copilot edits, and let's add here our application property, and let's say, okay, as you understand, guys, from the previous video, when you are using MongoDB as job repository, you always need to exclude the auto configuration of data source, because behind the scenes it's using JDBC, it's using a relational database, okay. So as we are using Mongo, we don't need the auto configuration. We will configure our own data source. I'm just Spring that auto configure exclude data source. So what we need to do after that, yes, we can, for example, use here the MongoDB, okay, so just like that. And also, for example, we can say which database we are going to use, right? So Mongo database, it will be also country. So far so good, guys. Now I know, okay, we don't need this. We need also to create, for example, here in terms of package, in package, okay, we already have. So we need AI to create for us the job repository. So when you are using SpringBatch and NoSQL, for example, MongoDB as job repository, you need to create your custom job repository. So that's the reason we are going here, and let's, for example, tell him. We're just going to tell him, okay, we are using SpringBatch and MongoDB as job repository. Please create the job repository configuration. So in that order, let's just ask him, okay, so configure the job repository in order to run SpringBatch with MongoDB as job repository, just like that. So let's run and let's see. Okay, it's telling us. All right. Okay. I think I like this approach. So first we have, okay, it's using the batch configurer. Okay, it's okay, but I don't think that it will work. Okay, so let's just create here our configuration class. Let's call it by MongoDB config. And yeah, first what I'm gonna do here is, for example, here in this class, I will just accept all. Okay, this is not the package, just like that. We don't need this, we don't need that, we also don't need it. Okay, so we don't need this. For the MongoDB, yeah, so let's just use here Mongo, just like this. So like Mongo client, we need a Mongo client first, Mongo client, and here we are going to return Mongo clients that create. So it will be a bin also, because we can inject it whenever we want. And actually, let me delete all this mess that this guy just gave us. So we have here the Mongo client. The next thing that we need is Mongo template. So as we are, for example, injecting here, right? So yeah, we have here a fail in this one, so we need to rename this file. Okay, so just like that. So the next thing that we need is to add a Mongo template. So we need a Mongo template, just like that. Mongo template will return no Copilot, it's not like that. So let's just say, okay, Mongo template, just like this. Yes, of course. And here, for example, we can specify, for example, we can add here. Okay, so we are going to get here the converter. Okay, just like that. And then, for example, for mapping, we need to set the dot. So guys, you can just go to the official documentation and you will understand what I'm doing here. But actually, we need this separator here, because the job parameter in SpringBatch, it contains some dot and so on. So we need to replace we need to use this map key dot replacement. Okay. So now the next thing that we need also is, let's create here a Mongo transaction manager. So just like that, Mongo transaction manager, and here we are going to return Mongo transaction manager. But this Mongo transaction manager receive a Mongo database factory, just like that. And here we use the Mongo database factory. Now here is the place that we need to create our job repository. Okay, we need to create our job repository, just like this. So amazing. So now we are feeling here the Copilot working. Okay, but I think it receives a Mongo. Yes, that's right. So it receives the Mongo template and Mongo transaction manager. So just like this. So Mongo transaction manager. Yes, this is what we have here. So it says a bin. Yeah, and the last thing that we need is, for example, to create a new bin. Okay, so it will be the job explorer. Okay, just like this. And amazing. Yeah, so let's just import it, and let's say, okay, it's using the Mongo template, and also it also use the Mongo transaction manager. Yes, just like that. I think we can even just replace here, say transaction manager, just like this, and here we are injecting the transaction manager, transaction manager, transaction manager, just like that. And so I think, yeah, we need also, so Mongo set transaction manager. Yes. So now this is what we really need, okay? So I think we still have in here and never on this class. Let me check here. Yes, we need to delete it, okay? Now we have everything. So in order to launch our job, so I'm just going to create here a new package. I don't know if it's a package. No, it will be in the configuration package. So let's just call it by custom. So just like that, okay. And oops, it's at configuration, not at bin, my bad. So here I can just say, for example, let's ask the Copilot. Let's use here. Okay. Create a bin that trigger my job. Okay, so let's ask it to generate for us and let's see. Okay, it's creating. Okay, it's using runnable. No. So for example, if you maybe it will work. Okay, I know that it will work, but for if you are a, let's say, developer, you understand that it's sometimes just give us some suggestion that doesn't really let's say have nothing to do with reality. Okay, so for example, we can we can create here a new bin. So let's call it by job launcher. Okay, we don't need this. I told you to use it like this. So the first thing that we need for in order to launch a job, right, is a job itself. So we need a job. So let's call it by job. And also we need the job repository. So just like that. And here we use the require args constructor, Lombok one. So now the first thing that we need to create is the job parameters. So just like this, look, it's fast. Okay, so we have here our job parameter. So as we were asking him to do, okay, so this part, the AI suggested very nice thing, but here is the complete one. So what I mean is, so we are going to add a parameter which is processed time, okay, and the type is a local date at now, in order to, let's say, to generate for every single time that we are going to run it, okay, to have a different process time. So the type of class is local. This is nice, okay, in order to make, let's say, SpringBatch to understand the class that we are going to use, okay, because it internally has its own converters, okay, and here we specifying that this is identified. So now here, custom, what the hell is this? So here we are going to call the job launcher. So the instance, the type that we are going to use is the task executor, okay, job launcher, just like that. And here we can start adding, for example, the job repository. We can add also, for example, here the task executor. For now, let's just use a simple one. And here, for example, we can for example, say run, okay, and we are going to run our job by using the job by using the job and its job parameters, okay, just like this. And then we can, for example, say, okay, after property set, okay, now we have everything, so we can just now return the job launcher, okay. So it's giving us an exception as we don't care, so we're just going to add here sneaky throws, which is the Lombok annotation. Just try to read a little bit more about this annotation. So this is nice what we have here, okay. We could also ask AI to explain to us, but we don't have time anymore. Now we have this, we have that, so I'm just going to grab my, let's say, Docker Compose file, okay, and we'll paste it here because I will share with you guys the project. Let's just copy the Docker Compose and let's just paste it here on our project. So now I have here my Docker Compose, okay, and I have here the MongoDB. And so let's just run, okay, in order to make this, okay. Anyways, let's just see here. So let's try to connect to our database. So just like that. So here, what we are going to have here, the database will be country. Okay, let's test the connection. Okay, connection succeed. So now the next thing that we can do, for example, we can just, let's say, we can run, okay, some script, okay, let's just run the script, not this one here, but what I can do, let me just copy from our previous video, okay, just like this. So let's run this script here. So let's run the script, okay, so let me just go here, select, okay, now it's connecting, okay, so it will create all the tables. So go to our previous video, okay, in order to understand what we are doing here. So we just have here, for example, our collections. These are the metadata that SpringBatch use in order to store the metadata related to our job. This is the concept called by job repository. So these are the metadata. So now coming back here, let me just close all of this and let's go here on our job configuration. Okay, so taking a look here. So first we need to inspect here, okay, what we have in our database. So as we can see, we have some countries. Yeah. Now, this is the time that we need to launch our application. So let's just see. Okay, it's okay to do like that. I think here the class also should be renamed. Now let's try to see. Okay. We have a problem here. So okay. So actually, I could, for example, ask AI, okay, to fix it, because when we run our job, okay, when we run our job, it's as we are using, for example, the JSON, we need the Jackson dependency. So this video, the purpose of this video is to use AI, right? So let's go here on our POM XML. So I can just, for example, copy the exception, okay, and paste it here. I don't care. Let's see the suggestion. Okay, the error, java.lang.noClassDef found error, okay, to solve this. All right, so let's go here on our POM XML and let's fill the vibe and let's accept this. Now let's re-import. Okay, and now let's run once again our application. Okay, I know what we need. Okay, I'm just going to grab this exception. I don't care. Okay, and I will paste it here. Let's see. Fix. Oh, all right. Fix it, bro. Yes. Okay, I accept it. Okay, it's just suggesting us. Oops. Before that, let me just accept this one here. And the other thing is, for example, let's just, I think, okay, let's make it easier. Okay, and let's, for example, maybe copy. Okay, let's just copy this one here and paste it here. Let's see if it will work. Okay, first we need to re-import. Okay, now we can import it, and now let's run our application. AI is giving us nice suggestions. And okay, independence year. So as we understand, right? So we have the dependency, the module. We have the module, right? But it's not working. So what I'm gonna do here, so let's just go here, for example, on in our class here. And yeah, I know the exception is here, okay, because it's just complaining. It's telling us that, okay, it cannot, for example, serialize, okay, because of the Java that time, that year, okay. And if we just take a look here, okay, is Jackson JSON object marshaller, okay, this one here. What can I do? Let me just paste, okay, this code here, and null, and use object mapper. So here we can use the mapper just like that. And okay, I think that's all right. So let's run once again the application. Now this time I think it should work. Okay, so as we can see here, okay, now we need to find the file. Okay, so output countries. So if we go here, output countries, yeah, we have the file here. So we have the file with all, let me just format it. Okay, as we can see, we have the countries that we have here on our database. So I think it's okay. We are having like nice time trying here the GitHub Copilot. And yes, so what we can do next? In our next video, we will dive deeper into the benefits of integrating AI into the software development life cycle. Whether you are a beginner, eager to learn, debug, or explore pair programming, or even if you are a developer aiming to boost productivity, I think this session is for you. We will explore various AI agents and discuss how they can revolutionize your development process. I will share my honest opinion on the role of AI in software engineering, and I promise to cover advanced topics such as MCP and more. So stay tuned, let's explore these tools together and ensure we stay ahead in this rapidly evolving field. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into AI agents. If you find this content valuable, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support motivates me to create more insightful videos. See you in the next video, which will be cursor, and bye bye.